Now, the CBC is one of the topics that's going to be discussed at an upcoming film festival here in Ottawa, the Free Thinking Film Festival. It's an annual event. You'll meet the man behind it in just a moment. But they've got a movie and then a discussion panel. I'll be part of the discussion panel, and it's on CBC, and it's Biases. Here's the movie that Fred Litwin helped put together.
This is a national treasure, the CBC Act.
They should abortion doctors in the United States of America. Is there a school where they teach you these American cliches? Is it part of your application process?
This is a national treasure, the CBC Act.
Last night, I knew all about those questions. They were written by the CBC and provided to the Liberal members of Parliament.
This is a national treasure, the CBC Act.
The corporation's ombudsman said Malik's assertions were not fact-based, and CBC's publisher says, quote, "We erred in our judgment. Malik's column is a classic piece of political invective. It is viciously personal, grossly hyperbolic, and intensely partisan. Nothing about racist." Meanwhile, Malik has never apologized for her column and lauded the CBC for its initial support.
Well, there you go. That is the CBC and its biases. Fred Litwin is the man behind the Free Thinking Film Society. Joins us now in studio. You're laughing, Fred.
Well, how can you not laugh when you see stuff like that?
Okay. Now, you're taking on the CBC, claiming it has a big lefty bias. I talk about that occasionally, but primarily I've been focused on the fact that they're unaccountable and they don't want to send us their money. Is the CBC still inherently left-wing biased when you look at the fact that people like Avi Lewis, who was in that clip, spouting nonsense to Ali Hirschan, is it still that way now that people like him are gone?
I think it is, and I think that you're going to see a lot of new clips in our documentary. I think it's anti-Israel, it's anti-conservatives. I think there's a culture at the CBC that they bring in the same sort of people who listen. It's a culture, it's self-reinforcing. And I could have done this documentary on a variety of other topics like Toronto centricity, environmental lunacy, a whole variety of stuff. But we chose Israel and conservatives to show that the CBC is not serving a large part of the Canadian population.
Unlike private news organizations, which take a definite editorial tone and the Star was started by Liberal Party supporters. Back in the late 1800s. It has always been a Liberal paper, and it proudly wears it on its sleeve.
That's right.
The state broadcaster is supposed to be a little bit different, and yet yesterday we played a clip from their 75th anniversary celebrations where, they celebrated the fact that the world is 75 years old because they are. We had Kevin O'Leary saying, "Oh, it's great. Now you get to have this right-wing guy on giving right-wing opinions." And essentially you're limited to Kevin O'Leary and Don Cherry.
That's right. And you get Andrew Coyne occasionally, and Rex Murphy, and there's pockets of good stuff. The problem is that a large part of the Canadian population, you talk to any conservative group, they laugh when you talk about the CBC. They're not tuned in anymore. They've left. And so when the CBC talks about how they want to reach more Canadians and the rural and more transmitters and this, they never think about, maybe we should reach conservatives. We've lost them for years.
Maybe we should speak for all Canadians instead of downtown Toronto folks. And I mentioned this. I think I mentioned this yesterday. I've mentioned it on the show before. Doug Fisher, longtime columnist for The Sun, the late Doug Fisher, was complaining about CBC having a Toronto and Montreal focus in 1962 or 63 in an interview with them. I'll send you the clip. It is a great clip where he talks about, you guys are just downtown Toronto people. You don't care about people. And he was an MP from Thunder Bay with the NDP at the time.
That's right.
Want to play a quick clip from What About Whatcott and then get some comments from that. This is another movie you're going to be showing. It's about Bill Whatcott, who was on this program a couple of weeks ago. He's before the Supreme Court on a freedom of speech issue. Here's the clip.
Yep.
Okay, there's some sodomites rebelling against Almighty God, so I'm here to tell them the truth.
Bill's one of those kind of guys that you either love him or hate him.
Got any death threats? I had a few. No, I'm banned from the United States.
Now I am sure that you have heard, my friend, about the day they said the world would.
You go to any gay place, they're gonna know who I am.
Why don't you come on out and stop pretending?
All is not well in Canada.
You felt secure with that appointment then.
So The reason I wanted to show that clip and mention that you're showing this movie is that you are what Bill Whatcott would describe as a sodomite. You run a blog called Gay and Right.
That's right.
You're gay and you're conservative, but you're showing his movie.
That's right.
Bill probably doesn't like you a whole lot.
Probably not. Well, you know,
Why are you showing this movie?
Freedom of speech is a really important topic, and I thought this film really captures an issue that has to be discussed. So I want people to come to the festival and talk about this. Regardless of which side you're on, this film is important, and these are the kind of debates that we need to have amongst all Canadians. Now, I'm a free speecher, so I support free speech. Karen Selleck of the Canadian Constitutional Foundation will be speaking. But I want this is an important film because of the issues it raises.
All right, and just quickly, you've also got another movie, Judophobia. You got several, but Judophobia, the new anti-Semitism, is that's the big movie that you're going to be showing.
That's right.
Where can people find out more information?
Freethinkingfilmfest.ca has a complete list of films, retailers.
And if people aren't in Ottawa, can they catch some of them online?
Well, we'll be selling our CBC documentary after the festival. There's trailers online. Of course, we can't put up the whole films online.
Okay.
But hopefully one day we'll be in other cities.
All right. Make sure you do check it out if you're in town. If not, check them out online.